Many people may ask, what leads a successful doctor to retire from her job and become an activist for the environment and the prevention of nuclear war? For Helen Caldicott, that decision was easy. For the past 42 years, she has dedicated her life to educating the public on the medical dangers of the nuclear age and how to prevent from further damaging of our environment. She has worked with many fellow doctors to focus on the dangers of nuclear war and weapons. She refers to the nuclear arms race as insanity. And the battle between countries for nuclear power has led to the awareness as well as the denial to the medical dangers of radiation and radioactive materials. Her mission is to continue to educate the rest of the world and hopefully better the planet for future generations. Another one of her main focus is the constant decline in the state of our environment. In an interview, she states, "The planet is in an intensive care unit, such as ICU in a hospital where a patient goes when they're in desperate need of saving, when they're on the last legs of their life. That's the state of our planet right now, according to Helen Caldicott." To sum up her main views on nuclear war and the environment, there are three main points. 1. Today's very obvious threat of nuclear war and weapons. 2. Climate change and global warming. And 3. Ending the production of radioactive waste. The first of her main points that we addressed previously was that Helen Caldicott firmly believes that nuclear weapons need to be abolished, and because of their possible harmful effects. Some of these effects include that radiation is harmful no matter what. Like, it's cumulative, it adds up, and it can lead to various genetic diseases that will affect future generations, such as a fetus or in the genes that are being passed on. Kids are 10 to 20 times more susceptible, and men are actually more sensitive to radiation than women in the terms of nuclear effects. In the event of a nuclear explosion, such high doses of radiation can lead to radiation sickness that can affect large quantities of people. It happens within the first few months of the explosion. So it's not an immediate effect, but it happens over a long term. Any amount increases cancer in future generations and genetic diseases as well, and can affect so many people in such little amounts. It's so cumulative that radiation affects everyone in the region that it is emitted. Her second point was that Caldicott also believed that renewable energy is in need of being promoted by world leaders as opposed to being ignored. Global warming, if it goes unchecked and isn't addressed or backed by global leaders, it could lead to extreme warm temperatures and violent weather. Global warming has come up recently, and a lot of her views are aligning with those that have been addressed lately, such as in the previous election, in the Green Party, Jill Stein was aligned with Caldicott, and Caldicott backed Jill Stein in the election. The threat of global warming is so broad, and climate change as well, that it becomes a part of everyday life and is continually ignored, according to her views and her opinions on this idea. Until the danger pierces through the denial, it won't be addressed on a broad and big stage or shown a lot of light onto. And it is said, and she believes that it would almost be easier for activists to address smaller issues like the dangers of endangered species, endangered areas like rainforests or people. However, if we don't address the big issue, she believes, then what are we really working towards? It's that continuous fight and activism for the things that need to be addressed that aren't being addressed is what Helen Caldicott really wanted to push. Lastly, Caldicott believed that the production of radioactive waste needed to be stopped at all costs. Many of the same reasons why no nuclear weapons or war should be amongst us in our world. as well as said previously, no dose of radiation is safe. It's cumulative, it adds up, and its damage and harmful effects just pile up as more radiation is emitted. Inhaling radon gas causes lung cancer, so it's harmful for workers who are working in these uranium plants, such that she worked to abolish or get rid of in Australia where she lived. And once uranium is leaked, it continues to decay and spread its harmful elements forever, as well as many other radioactive chemicals. They stay around, they loom in the air, they affect the population immensely. No safe storage has been developed yet for this radioactive material. It's constantly being leaked, and there's no way for the public to be completely safe from it, as well as the workers who are working in these chemical mines. Helen Caldicott continues to fight against nuclear war and is actively trying to better the planet for future generations by informing the public of the many negative things that are affecting our planet as a whole. Her work will leave behind a legacy that could possibly save millions of people from radiation, as well as bettering the planet altogether. As she states in an interview, when giving a prognosis for the Earth, as she would as one of her patients with leukemia or another patient that she has been with, the prognosis what she said, the prognosis is not good, I'm sorry to say. What she's saying is the lifespan of the Earth is short if we keep going the way we are with the threats of nuclear war and nuclear weapons and radioactive waste. By putting an end to the production of nuclear weapons, radioactive waste, and addressing global warming and climate change, only then can we better the planet and lengthen its lifespan, as well as that of future generations.